Hello, this is Richard Kuzami, and this is the March 27th meeting of the Old Astoria Neighborhood Association. This meeting is a little different than ones we've had in the past. This is to a specific audience, though we are also hoping to add to that audience. This meeting will be concerned uh, our advocacy for a dog run, which we would like to establish around First Street and 26th Avenue in Hallett's Peninsula. Uh, this is a proactive project that we're doing with the possibility of upwards of 7,000 apartments going in. We know that there's going to be a great need for public land and a great need specifically for um, canine facilities. They are loved and cherished, and we need to make sure that they're treated as equal members of our community. And it's also just very good for the quality of life. So this meeting is to let people know some of the parameters. One thing that is required from the Parks Department and from the city, if they are going to install a dog run, they require that a volunteer advocate dog run group be established before they start the process. So today, what we're doing is we've invited a number of people. We have 45 people or so that we've reached out to that have already signed up to volunteer for this. And we have invited somebody from Partnerships from Parks to come in and explain exactly what the duties are. This is important because as people sign up for things, they should know what they're getting into. So we would like to, we want to put this together to make sure nobody's going into this blind. Also, I'd like to go over for a second a little bit of what's going on before we start with Old Astoria Neighborhood Association. For people that don't know us, we are a local 501c3 civic association established in 2014. And we cover the area basically along the waterfront, going from Queensbridge right on up to Steinway Street on the waterfront. Some of the projects in the past that we've done, we tend to try and grow with the neighborhood. We're the people that established street cleaning first in this neighborhood. There was no street cleaning before that. That was a big project of ours. We also were the sponsors of the extension of the ferry when it came into the Upper East Side. These are a couple of our wins. Right now, we have a couple other projects going on. They're in various stages, and we do hope they're successful. One is the start of an ice skating rink we would like to establish in the Astoria Park diving pool. Secondly, we are behind the establishment of pickleball courts, particularly in the playground on Hallett's Peninsula by First Street and Astoria Boulevard. And also, and we've been advocating for this for a number of years and looking for partners, we want to establish an arts district on the whole neighborhood. We have three major anchors: Socrates Park, Noguchi, and the Welling Court Mural Project. We want to establish the area as a neighborhood for the arts. This is particularly valid now that we have the ferry coming in. This is no longer a transit desert. So adding that together with the fact that we're getting a lot of artists moving into Astoria because we're much more affordable than Williamsburg or some of the other places that they went into. We're looking to build the area up and make it a destination for the other five boroughs and tourists too. So those are some of the projects we have going now. I'd like to bring up a few neighborhood individuals that are involved and with the dog run and with different projects, and they can explain for a few minutes what they do. And after that, we'll be bringing on the representative from Partnerships for Parks. So I'd like to start with Sylvia Heisel. Sylvia?
Hey, all, Richard. Yep, Richard, thank you. And hey, everybody, I'm so honored to be here. Bit about myself, I've been an Astoria resident for about 2.5 years now. Before that, I was in Manhattan for a really long time. So I'm kind of one of those people that's moving here because it's a really awesome place. And in my professional life, one of the things I've done is that my husband and I have a company called Dog Park Production, and we have designed private dog parks and dog events, and our focus is really on creating places and spaces and events for people to play with their dogs, and for happy dogs and happy dog owners, and how can we bring people together. And so to me, this dog run is an amazing opportunity to do that, and to build neighborhood and community for dog owners and their dogs. And so I'm just here as a volunteer, learning as we go in this case, and happy to be a liaison on this and help anyone out and do whatever I can to move the project forward.
Thank you very much. Great. Okay, I'd also like to bring up now somebody else who's actually our host also, but he's also working in the area on economic development. That would be Mr. Victor Prado. Victor?
Hello, everybody. My name is Victor Prado. I am the program manager for Astoria. I work for Queens Economic Development Corporation. And I essentially cover a big square that covers Astoria. But if you were to just mentally picture it, it's everything from 36th Avenue, including Steinway, and all the way to Ditmars. So just imagine a big square. That's my coverage area. And my focus is really to support the small businesses on their everyday needs in Astoria. That includes, practically speaking, everything from marketing support. I currently have an initiative called Astoria Storefronts, where I am going with my camera door to door, filming and shooting videos for businesses completely free, for Instagram, for social media, just trying to highlight and bring, practical results to businesses. Trying to help them with business advisory needs, grant funding, whatever it is, I'm here to support it. Thank you, Richard.
Thank you. Thanks. And thanks for all your help. Victor's been volunteering with OANA for the last maybe 5-6 years. So we appreciate
something like that, yeah.
And now I'm so pleased to bring out a real landmark in our neighborhood, a cafe that everybody knows about, an institution in our neighborhood, and somebody, as she said, bridges the gap between the old and the new residents. So I'd like to bring from Chateau Le Wolf, Natasha Cantini.
Thank you for that introduction, Richard. That was great. Hello, everyone. My name is Natasha. I am the owner of Chateau Le Wolf, New York's first dog cafe. I am an Astoria resident, have been in the piano factory for 15 years. Small business owner. Chateau Le Wolf is located on Vernon Boulevard, right across from Socrates Sculpture Park. We are part cafe, part pet store, event space, community space. We really try to do as much as we possibly can for the community, create a gathering place for everyone. As Richard said, new school and old school, happy to help. We have a meeting place. There are quite a few things we want to get involved with, but want everyone to know they're welcome always. And anything that we can do to help the neighborhood, we're here.
Thank you. You've done much, and we will continue to do more, and we're looking to a bright future, I think. So now for the nuts and bolts, I'd like to bring out Alejandra Vanegas. Alejandra? Hi, how are you doing?
Hi, thank you for having me today. It's a pleasure to hear from all of the different community leaders that we have in Astoria. And as Richard mentioned, my name is Alejandra. I work for Partnerships for Parks. And just to give a bit of an overview about who Partnerships is, we are a public and private organization that works in collaboration with the New York City Parks Department and City Parks Foundation. So it gives us a unique way to support our community partners through this public and private domain. So Partnerships works with volunteer groups throughout the 5 boroughs to activate our park spaces, particularly through volunteer projects. I work for the community engagement team, and we work with local community groups to beautify their local parks through projects and events that promote engagement. And I work with our parks maintenance and operations staff and also the borough staff to support the group's visions, and see how we can best get that forward. So the topic of conversation today really is what it means to formulate a dog run group and advocate for a dog run. So that includes a number of different steps and a number of different responsibilities. So Richard wanted me to come on today to kind of explain what that is so that everyone understands what the commitment looks like. So first I'll go through the steps in which we ask our groups to go through when advocating and creating a dog run group. And some of these might be familiar to you, some of them might not, but we'll go through them. So the first step would be to set up a meeting to gather input from community members who are interested in developing a dog run. This gathers a sense of the level of support in the neighborhood for establishing a dog run group, which I would say is the purpose of us being here today. So that's one check, which is great. The next step is to identify and create a group of core members that will do the organizing and advocacy for the dog run group. So you want to make sure that these core members understand the steps that go into this advocacy and this organizing, and to ensure that those people are signed on and are willing to go through these next couple of steps and kind of spearhead that campaign. The next step would be to establish your group by coming up with a name and creating a Facebook page to communicate to your members. It's important to have some place where everybody could chat and speak and disseminate information to a group collectively. And we also ask that once this group is established and you guys have that name, you submit to Parks and Partnerships a list of 10 volunteers at least, with names and contact information describing who will be responsible to maintain the dog run and serve as contacts for parks. So what this does is essentially establish sort of a line of succession. Something that is a sometimes is ensuring that dog runs and groups have longevity. This is because we understand that sometimes people who were once leading groups, and this is in any type of context, move, or they have different responsibilities, or their visions change and they just decide to no longer be with the group. We want to make sure that there is a clear line of who is this next person that will be leading this dog run group, to ensure that the dog run group will continue even past the established or official founding group of members. The next step would be to make an appointment with the community board to present your idea and to receive approval. This is definitely very essential for park staff and for parks leadership. We want to ensure that this is something that the community board is behind before it's really something that we can kind of consider. The next step would be to set up a meeting with the park manager to introduce yourself, to discuss locations. And this is typically an on-site meeting. And that way we can kind of chat about the possibilities of where this run could be, right? Discussing the commitment that comes with being a dedicated group to take care of the run, and really using this time to not only meet your park managers, but to understand like where and how this will continue. After that, it would be to write a formal email to our borough commissioner introducing your group's vision. We do have a template that we've shared with groups in the past. So if and when you reach this step, that's something that we can kind of guide you on. Then the next step would be to meet with elected officials to advocate for funding for the dog run once you have received the support of the community board and parks. And then after this, we encourage dog run groups to organize what we call an It's My Park Day project. And that project would go through partnerships. It's our largest campaign in our organization, and it's what we consider beautification projects that typically fall under this like umbrella of 3 particular categories. Those categories include general cleanup, horticulture, and also painting. Could be bench or fence painting. And the reason why we recommend this is that groups can understand how it is to work through this parks process and to formulate a cleanup. That way they have a good sense of what it's like to have a group presence in the park, and maybe also translate some of that into the domain of maintenance in the dog run. So those are what we would say are like the essential steps in terms of creating the dog run and the dog run group. Now, I think it is important to clarify what it means to be a committed and established dog run group. Like, so let's say hypothetically this dog run is completed, right? And now it's time to maintain this dog run, right? What does that look like? What does that entail? So community group tasks includes, but is not limited to, establishing clear and sustained lines of communication between the group and parks. It's important for everybody to be up to date in terms of maintenance and just questions. If anything arises, parks definitely wants to know. Even though the group is in charge of maintenance, we just want to be included and up to date on everything that's happening, just so that we can make sure that everything and everyone is on the same page. This also includes reporting concerns and conditions or instances of canine illness to park staff in a timely and concise manner. And then it includes enforcing the dog run rules, which are posted inside and outside the run. Also performing all maintenance inside the run in compliance with parks regulation and guidelines. In addition to cleaning all hard surfaces daily, raking and leveling the surface, turning over and refreshing the surface at a minimum of once a year if it's wood chips or stone screenings. The group is responsible for filling in holes that are made by any digging that is done by dogs, removing litter and weeds inside and on the perimeter, placing waste in trash bags located outside the run, communicating and reporting needs to appropriate park staff, replacing bags in waste bag dispensers, and emptying water from drinking fountain bowls. So I would say that is the larger amount of responsibilities that we see with dog runs and their groups. But again, these are not just limited tasks. These are ones that are frequent and the most important and essential. And that's really it. I know it could be quite a lengthy and a heavy process. But if you have any questions throughout that, feel free to reach out. But I would say that that's the larger, more important information.
Good. Okay. Thank you so much. It's great to have that baseline as to what's needed. Let me briefly just go over what I wrote, and if I missed anything, you can let me know.
Perfect.
Creating the core group, establishing a Facebook page, and then establishing like a board or some sort of group of 10 volunteers to provide succession. Meet with the community board, and then park manager, and then create, once that's done, a formal introductory email using your template, meeting at that point with the electeds, referencing funding, and then making sure that we participate in your It's My Park Day annual event. And that seems to be the group's in general commitments. As far as personal commitments for the maintenance, number one, establishing communications lines to parks, enforcement of rules, maintenance, cleaning hard surfaces, turning over the soft surfaces annually, okay, and filling in holes and taking care of the waste. Is that pretty much it?
Yeah, I think that's it. In terms of the It's My Park project, they're not specifically annually. We do them all year round. So like, let's say it's really any time of year. We just have slower seasons in the summer and the winter because no one wants to be outside when it's so cold and too hot. But that doesn't say that we don't have groups that do it. So just wanted to flag that.
Okay, good. And one other question too. Will the one thing that I think is will parks be providing any officers or anything like that to help in terms of enforcement of rules? Because on occasion that could get a little touchy. We would like to know that we have the ability to reach out to parks to make sure that that's dealt with. We would not be professionals if there were security issues. So
I can't confirm if that's something that they can officially provide. I could get back to you regarding that. I can touch base with the park managers and see what is within their capacity in terms of enforcement. What I can say that's happened in the past that's not directly related to dog run groups, just specifically when there are security issues in the park, they make a recommendation to PEP to see if they have it within their capacity to pass by the park. But I can touch base with the park managers and see how that would work for here.
Okay. A couple of things also. I'd like to, number one, and this is a big secret for everybody. I'm sure that this is a little inside scoop. Did you know that it takes a very long time for a government project to take fruition? So that being said,
I was going to say, should I plug my ears?
Now that you know the inside scoop, right now, to give you an idea, we're looking in terms of a timeline here before we actually get started on this till fiscal year 26. Now, fiscal year 26 is based upon the city's calendar, and that would be starting in July 1st of 2025. So we have about a year to a year and a couple months to get all these parts together to do this. Also, I want everybody to understand that this group is not going to be just about this dog run. It needs to also be about the entire area, the entire environment for dogs and their owners. Just like Natasha said, maybe establishing dog stations. We could have dog parades, which I know Sylvia was involved in, things like that. Those are a lot of fun to do. We could maybe even get the city to close Vernon Boulevard and have a dog parade. I love that idea. There's all sorts of things that can happen here. And I want to spend the next, 8-9 months to working on some of these other projects, other things that are of interest. For everybody in Battery Park City, they've actually established a program where they're composting dog waste. Okay, this is something else that would be very an interesting subject to do. So, we again have an empty palette, so we're lucky enough to be able to look at different things that we could do to make the area both a destination and make it unique, and also environmentally friendly. We want to establish all that. So we're looking at, like I say, a timeline when funding comes through, probably, like I said, in the summer of 2025. Okay. We want to meet, though, if we can meet every couple months. Natasha has wonderfully offered to let us use her facility. So I'd like to start, one of the things I want to start doing is putting out some invitations for us all to meet in person, see if we can discuss who wants to do what, trying to establish a board, trying to establish maybe different committees for different types of subjects that you want to address. And also to, arrange to meet with the community board and the elected officials. All this stuff can be done and needs to be done in person. One thing for everybody to know, for those that couldn't make the meeting tonight for whatever reason, or viewing the stream, this meeting will be on our website, and I will be sharing the link with everybody that signed up. And we really want to hear back from everybody to make sure that they have a continued interest. This is very, very important. So, and I'd like to bring out the panel once more. Everybody, if you have any closing comments, that would be great. Anything that maybe I failed to bring up that we should bring up, please do. I'd like to start with Sylvia.
Unmute. Yeah, hey, very excited. It totally all sounds great. I guess the one question I had for Alejandro is if there are other, if you could tell us from your end, if you know of other dog run groups that are really fantastic and have done a really great job in any borough, anywhere, where we could kind of, if they would chat with us and share their experience, that would be really amazing and helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. There are definitely a few. I can't speak to some in other boroughs because unfortunately I haven't worked with them directly. But in terms of the dog run groups that I have worked with that are really great, Canine Social Club of Jackson Heights at the Travers Park Dog Run is really great. They have a great relationship with parks, and I think that they could really share a lot of their experience and possibly recommendations regarding like how they do maintenance and what are some of the roses and thorns regarding the dog runs and the group and all that good stuff. There is also another group in Sunnyside, and forgive me for not knowing the full name. They're called SUDS. But in terms of what that is without the acronym, I'm not entirely sure at the moment.
Victor, that's a job for you to figure out.
Yeah, so
Yeah, I was actually Googling it. I actually said, I think it's Sunnyside United Dog Society.
yes, I think you're right. Again, I don't really know because we always just refer to them as SUDS, so I apologize. But they're really great, and they have been very long, well established to the point where they really operate outside of us, which is hopefully what we kind of want for all of our local community groups, not really just our dog runs. And those are the two that currently come to mind for me.
Awesome. Thank you. Great.
Good.
Great.
Yeah, further to that, I think that another thing we need to do is figure out our name. So anybody listening, if you have any good ideas or anybody else, please share them. You can share them on under the chat on Facebook or YouTube, or if you come up with it afterwards, you can share it at feedback@oana-ny.org. Victor, if you could put that in the chat, I'd appreciate it. Okay. By the way, before I bring up the next speaker, one thing else I forgot to mention. There was an issue that happened in Bushwick, which is directly related to this project here, because we want to do this within a baseball field, okay, Whitey Ford Field. There's a similar situation in Bushwick where there was a baseball field and they were having a huge problem with dogs because dogs were running free. There are people that were letting them off leash within the baseball field, and it really became a very tense situation. So another very, very strong reason why I want to get this, why we want to get this dog run established is that once you establish a dog run in a city park, you cannot have any off leash on that park. So what that would do is that would give a destination for the dogs, and it would also keep the validity of the baseball field, and the ball players would not have to dodge little piles of waste. So I think that's another very, very important situation. We want to avoid the problems that happened in Bushwick. Okay, Victor, you want to come on up?
Here.
Yep.
So there are some questions in the live chat. I don't know if you want to review those now.
Okay.
See one from Carissa and from Laurie.
Okay, here we go. Oh, we're getting many more comments now. Good, good. Okay. Looking for the question. Okay, we have something from Carissa. Are there specific park locations that you all are discussing? I may have missed that. And in fact, yes, that is. We're looking at Whitey Ford Field at 1st Street and 26th Avenue. That area of Hallett's Peninsula is going through a major growth. And one of the reasons why we need it down there is if all apartments are built that are zoned for right now, we're going to have over 7,000 apartments in that neighborhood. That's a huge number, and that's going to leave approximately half of all apartments end up having dogs. So we're looking at having 3,500 to 4,000 dogs. So this is something that's not happening right now, but it will happen in the near future. So I think this is what we're looking at. And the second question is, what exactly are we planning to place? Are we planning to place the park? And is this down the line? But it would be great to have a small dog area or a designated time. I guess the thoughts that we've had, and you guys can also, Sylvia, if you have anything to say on this too, we originally looked at outside the right field fence because there's a large area there. But I also know that I was with some park staff a few months ago, and they basically were looking around and they thought that the first baseline would be a more appropriate place to do it. I personally think that we should maybe even have 2 dog runs, one for large dogs and one for small dogs, but that's asking a lot. Let's just get the first one in first. But that's the thoughts as they stand right now. Sylvia, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I think it's super early, and I think that's in other parks there have been things where if there can't be a separate area for smaller dogs, there are designated times or so. It really depends, and I'm not sure in this situation. I think we'd have to kind of look at it and see what's the best way to make the park really inclusive. And what's so I think that's a to be determined, and see how to best handle that.
Okay, thank you. Good. Okay, and Natasha, would you like to come up? You have any comments to say? I think you're muted.
There you go.
There we go. All right. Don't have any questions right now. I look forward to meeting everyone. If people that are watching want to stop by the shop, say hello, talk about it. Like Sylvia said, it's down the line. We in the neighborhood do have a neutered, unneutered dog situation often that comes up. A lot of dog parks don't allow unneutered dogs. This neighborhood's a little different. I'd like to maybe work with the community to see how we can tackle that. Like you mentioned, different times, but that's something that immediately comes to mind. Yeah, but I look forward to this.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Any other comments? Anything else, Alejandra? No?
Nope,
Okay.
that's really it for me. If you guys have any questions for me along the process, definitely let me know. And I look forward to hearing your progress.
Good. Thank you so much. And everyone, again, we will be sharing. First of all, you can go to our website starting tomorrow, and you should find a copy of this under meeting videos, so you can check it out. We will be sharing the link with everybody that previously signed up. We really, really need everybody who signed up to let us know whether they're still interested, so we can start to send out invitations to our next meeting at Chateau Le Wolf. Once we establish a date, we want everybody's help to make this work. But please get back to us and let us know. Okay, and I'd like to thank again Sylvia Heisel, Victor Prado, Natasha Cantini, and Alejandra Vanegas for joining us. We will be returning on on April 18th. Our next meeting will be with the Champlain Hudson Power Express. They are putting in new power lines. They're running hydropower down from Quebec to New York to power our city. And most of the underground cables will be going through our neighborhood, starting from Shore Boulevard, 14th Street, and Vernon Boulevard, right through this neighborhood right here that we're discussing, as a matter of fact. And they want to do outreach to the neighborhood to answer questions, to see if there's anything we can do in terms of making sure that everything is done safely and with no environmental or construction issues. So we do hope you join us again, April 18th at St. George's Episcopal Church at 27th Avenue and 14th Street. Again, thanks everybody. This is Richard Kazami, and we'll see everybody soon. Thank you. Good night.
Good night, everyone.
All right.